I'm Aaron Dean, and it's time for some real talk. Partner violence is a serious issue that can impact anyone. In 2022, the National Domestic Violence Hotline received over 2,000 calls per day, a historic high for the organization. Now one advocate is using his own experiences to help others. Wyatt O'Brian Evans has been a journalist for over 25 years. He's also an expert on intimate partner violence and abuse, partially because he experienced it himself. Evans hopes to shed light on abusive behavior through awareness and education, and he even wrote an essay about the topic for Advocate magazine back in 2016. More recently, Evans created a book series called Nothing Can Tear Us Apart. Evans has a new installment in the series out now called Shattered. I spoke with him about his journey as a survivor and the tools he uses to advocate for others. I'm very curious, what made you want to get into advocacy work when it surrounds the topic of intimate partner violence and abuse?
Aaron, that's a great question to start this off. I'm a survivor of intimate partner violence and abuse, and the acronym is IPV-A, which is essentially domestic violence and abuse within the LGBTQ plus community. And there are three types of IPV-A: the mental, the emotional, the physical. 90% of what I experienced was mental and emotional. So I'm a survivor. Thank God for that. And that sparked me wanting to help other people. What I do is I do seminars and workshops. And as a journalist, my foci is intimate partner violence and abuse. So yeah, having been a survivor, I felt a burning need to do it because IPV-A is more prevalent in our community that people want to talk about.
And when it comes to you getting to a place to where you felt comfortable not only to publicly tell your story, but also, advocate as well, what got you to that point to feel comfortable in doing that?
Wow, it was a process. It was a process getting out of the situation. I'm a strong advocate, proponent of therapy. And that's what saved my life. After I extricated myself from the situation, I went through therapy, and it took me 3 therapists to get to the one that really helped me. So, I say to people that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're crazy when you need therapy. It's just that you need some help. So therapy was really important in me becoming my whole self.
And in the LGBTQIA plus community, and even in communities of color, this topic is not talked about like it should be. From the work that you have done, do you have any ideas as to why?
Oh yeah, particularly where gay, SGL, same gender loving, queer men are concerned. It's stigma. Stigma is the driving force behind IPV-A being so underreported in some arenas. Because let's face it, no man wants it known that another man is kicking his ass. It's just that whole masculinity piece. So stigma is the driving force behind it. It's hard enough being gay, queer, SGL, but then when you're going through something like that and people know about it, it's really, really difficult. And unfortunately, too many people in 2023 think that when it's happening to men, IPV-A is like boys being boys, but that's not true. Abuse is abuse, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and when it comes to gay and queer relationships, there continues to be such, like you said, few academic studies and little, known statistics collected. How can we, as activists, journalists, community members, how can we work to make sure that we continue to shed light on this so that there is more adequate data?
Yeah, the data is really scant, particularly where African American, Black, gay, queer, SGL men are concerned, there's even less for whatever reason. You know, you just have to constantly sound that clarion call. You know, we have to be able to have open and honest conversations about it, because again, it's like swept under the rug, it's in the closet, people don't want to talk about it. But my whole mission as a journalist, also as a novelist, I write the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. The new novel is Shattered, and I shine a bright light on intimate partner violence and abuse as a journalist and also as an author. So we just have to, first of all, be willing to be open and honest and talk about it. Talk about it. We've got to drag it out of the closet. We have to shine that bright light on it, you know, through our various types of conversations that we have.
You know, and with your personal story and the work that you do, you know, what are you hoping people see or take away from, you know, you sharing and educating?
Well, first of all, Aaron, that it's real. It's not going anywhere. Is more prevalent than people think. So we as the community, we really need to have an open and honest conversation about it. And, you know, there are warning signs as well. And, you know, when we first meet someone, we're in that honeymoon phase, right? Everything is great. The hormones are raging and we're in love. We're in LUV love. But early on, there can be certain signs that should make you go, whoa, something ain't right here. So as far as relationships are concerned, as I talk about in Shattered, the new book, you have to treat your relationship, for example, like your job. In that, with your job, if you want to do well with your job, you analyze how well you're doing in that job and how well your boss is treating you and how well the other employees are treating you and how you interact with each other. You should do that with a relationship as well. You know, you should be saying to yourself, am I really getting my needs met? Am I meeting the other person's needs? Is this relationship being too confining? Is it abusive? So we need to take stock of our relationships and who we date.
You know, you have books out that talk about this topic. Tell us a little bit about your books and your podcast. Let it, you know, plug your stuff.
Let me start with the podcast. The podcast is called Wyatt. I said Wyatt. And what I do with the podcast is I dissect and explore, analyze the critical issues that face the LGBTQ plus community, particularly Black, gay, queer, SGL men of color. So I tackle some really serious issues. I bring in the movers and shakers of our community, people that really interest us. And I also drop in some strategically placed humor because back in the day, I used to be a stand-up comedian. So why not infuse all of those elements to make a unique podcast? So that's a podcast. I write a series of novels called Nothing Can Tear Us Apart. Shattered is the new installment. And basically, Shattered is about two men of color. You have a Black guy, you've got a Latino guy who are fighting to keep their relationship, their monogamous relationship, alive, well, and thriving. And they have to deal with intimate partner violence and abuse, which is a major theme of the book, and ethnic tensions and a lot of different stuff. I am so happy that I'm getting such positive reviews. It has universal appeal because straight, gay, trans, bi people are saying, I can relate to this. So, you know, that makes, when you're an author and you hear those comments, that feedback, it really makes everything worthwhile.
Check out Wyatt's work on WyattEvans.com. That's all the time we have for this Real Talk. You can find more of my full interviews on the Advocate channel. Download our app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Aaron Dean, and we will see you next time.